Hello everyone, my name is John. I'm a current paramedic student and I just completed my class F. I just wanted to go over a couple things to help you during your road test and better understand what's expected of you on your road test. Alright, before we get started, if you don't have your Schedule 2 yet, I would recommend going to my description and just downloading this and printing it off. So you need this for your driving test. You need to have a Schedule 2 on you and the daily report. So print this off. Usually I would recommend going to a car, like U-Haul and renting a 9-foot cargo van. That's all you need for the Class F. You don't need anything bigger. But anyways, yeah, so what you want to do is fill out here is just put company. You can put U-Haul, put your truck plate. You can just put non-applicable here, location of inspection, so wherever you're doing your F-Class. I did mine at Guelph and passed. I didn't make it the first time, and I'm going to be explaining what you should be expected of and what are some of the major kind of fails you can prepare for. Date and time, so you can put, December 9th, 2019 at 3:30 p.m. Odometer, just put your kilometers here and then circle kilometers. Inspector name, so just fill your name in all these three boxes. And then also before you do your test, just do a once over, go through all the Schedule 2 that pertains to you and just make sure everything's good in your major, and then just put none in both these categories. And then that's it, and then just give it to your instructor. Okay everyone, so I just edited the video and I just want to go over exactly what's expected of you in this test. I'm going to go into everything more in detail soon. But basically, they're going to ask you for 4 exterior inspections. The in-cab checks, you're going to do all the in-cab, and then 2 of the interior inspection. So for the 4 exterior, you want to inspect what they ask for specifically. And if they ask for the U-bolt, you want to specifically do the U-bolt. Don't do anything else. Sorry, it's right here. So the U-bolt, don't do anything else in the suspension system, just do the U-bolt. And then after each exterior inspection, you want to read out the minor major defects that apply to that specific thing they asked you. So if they ask you for the U-bolt in the suspension system, you just want to list out, you just want to say that there's no minor defects, and that the only major defect is the loose U-bolt. And then you want to say for the minor defects, you are able to drive, log in your book and report it to your operator. And for the major defects, log in your book, you cannot drive, and report it to your operator. So just make sure after each inspection that you do, you read out the minor and major defects for that inspection. So moving on, this is your Schedule 2. So like for instance, not everything in here applies to you, so 1 to 5 does not, but I'm going to be explaining all the ones that do apply to you and how to inspect them. We're going to go with the exterior inspection first and then move on to the interior. So 1 to 5 doesn't apply to you at all. 6 and 7 are interior. 8's interior. 9's not applicable to you. Okay, 11's the first exterior one that's applicable to you. So I'm just going to flip to that page. I have some notes here. Okay. So what you're going to do is hop into the vehicle, start it. Make sure you can already have it running before you get there, because usually, especially now that it's cold, they usually want it running and they hop in for a little bit and talk to you and what's expected of you, sign everything, and then you guys go outside. So you're going to pop the hood and say, I don't smell any gas or exhaust fumes. And then you're going to also just quickly check under the engine bay, right over here, and just say I don't see any leaks on the front. And then you're going to go over to the side here and say I don't see any leaks or any cracks, and it's secure. And then you want to go over to the back and say the same thing, no cracks, no damage. Alright, so this is actually what they test you on. So they have 1 to 33 of what they can test you on. Some of it doesn't apply to you, but we'll be going over how to do those specific things. But if they do ask you, for instance, fasteners, only demonstrate, only describe, and only talk about the minor and major defects for the fasteners, nothing else. Don't talk about the wheels, don't talk about the hub. That's one of the things that they can fail you for. Necessarily, some of them might not, just because it depends on the instructor, but as a safety measure, just if they specifically ask you to look at the wheel hub, just confirm with them, and if they want you to look at anything else, they'll tell you. Okay, so moving on to number 12, exterior body and frame. So you're just going to look back. For instance, for my Class F road test, they specifically asked for one side of the vehicle, so I just did the passenger side of this. If they ask you to do the whole exterior inspection, so this is what you would do. You'd pop the hood and you look inside. You just say no damage, no shifting, no cracking, no sagging of the frame. And just look around, and you can also go to the side here and look under and also say no damage, no shifting, no cracking, no sagging. You'd also just step back and then say I don't see any damage to the body. Everything's secure, attached, no cracks, no sagging, no damage, no shifting. If they specifically ask you to do one part, like I said, just do that one specific part. So he, for instance, asked me this side, and I just did that side. I just looked at the whole body here, and then I looked under, and that was fine. Okay, so the next one is the fuel system. This is one of the ones I haven't done. So what you want to do is just, so depending on what he asks you, he might ask you for a specific part, but if he asks you for the whole entire fuel system, what you want to do is just pop open the gas cap and just tighten it, make sure it's tight, and then just focalize that its gas cap is tight. And then usually the tank is under here, especially with the cargo vans, so you just want to look under. So just give your, like, also just another tip, take out the cargo van if it's your first time taking the road test, or if you have no experience with cargo vans or any other vehicles. Just take it out like an hour and a half before your road test, because you have to come 30 minutes early anyways, and just make yourself familiar with the vehicle. For instance, under the hood, one of the things is brake fluid, so just make sure you know where the brake fluid is, but I'll explain everything in the video. But anyways, right under here is the fuel tank. So you're just going to go and look under, and then just say I don't see any leaks, no damage, and it's secured to the vehicle. So after, I forgot to also say this, so after each single one that you do, for instance, if you do exterior body and frame, you want to say, okay, so if they ask you as a whole, you want to say all the minor and major defects. So if they do exterior body and frame, and you demonstrate and you describe it, the next you want to talk about is the defects. So you're going to say minor defects for exterior body and frame: insecure or missing body parts, insecure or missing compartment door, damaged body frame or body. You can drive it, log it in your book, and report it to your operator. And then a major defect is visibly shifted, cracked, collapsing, or sagging frame member. So that one you cannot drive. You would report it to your operator and log in your book. So just make sure you say those specific things. For instance, if we go to wheels, hubs, and fasteners, they specifically ask you for the wheels. Only mention the minor and major defects about the wheels. And then I won't read all the fuel systems, but there you go. There's no minor ones, and then there's the major ones. You just list that. Okay, so glass and mirrors is an outside inspection. It is partially in the interior cab as well, but they can ask this for exterior. So what you want to do is just ask them if they want just one or all the windows done or all the mirrors done. So for the mirrors, you just want to say I don't see any cracks and any damage, and there's full visibility. You can also give it a little shake, see if it's secure, and then just ask them if you have to do all of them. So the next one is heater defroster. That's in cab. So we'll move on. Hydraulic brake system. So this is another one. So for this one specifically, if they ask you to check the brakes, there's different categories which you can do. So this one specifically, they may ask you to check the brake fluid. They may ask you to check the brakes. There's different categories, but I'll tell you how to do all of them. So if they ask you to check the brake fluid, what you want to do is just pop the hood. Just look at the brake reservoir and just make sure it's a quarter or more full. So the major defect for this one's brake fluid reservoir is less than a quarter full. So you're just gonna unscrew it, or if you can see the, or if you can see the level. So this one you can see here, and then usually like the quarter, like the minimum is right around here. So this, the fluid's up above. You can see it. You can also unscrew it just to make sure, so they know that you know what you're doing. You just want to say the brake fluid reservoir is greater than a quarter. There's no leaks. And then you're also going to just make sure that you're going to look under, just say there's no leaks. And then if they ask you to check the hydraulic brake system, what you want to do is just get into the vehicle. You're going to pump the brakes while the truck is off 3 to 4 times until it gets hard, and then turn the vehicle on, and then you should feel the pedal kind of like loosen up a little bit. And you just want to tell them that's what you're doing, and the brake system's fine. Alright, so the next one that applies to you is the passenger compartment. So just ask them if you can do your door as the passenger compartment. So you just want to look at it, say that the padding's not damaged, there's no damage on the steps or the floor, there's no luggage rack, so just say there's no damaged luggage rack or compartment. There's passenger restraints, like the seat belt, and then the passenger seat's secure, so you can just take a little like test with your seat. Okay, and then you can move on to your minor and major defects. Remember, list them out if they specifically ask you for one thing, but the passenger compartment is usually as a whole, so you would say every one of these things. Other than that, we'll move on to the suspension system, steering's interior. Okay, for the suspension system, you just want to go, usually it'll take you to the back wheel because that's where the leaf springs are. So here, these are actually the leaf springs, this whole part right here. And then this is the U-bolt, this little thing that makes a U right here. Okay, so those are the two main parts that you want to know of the suspension system. You just want to go near it and say, I don't hear any leaks from the suspension system. So this is another one where they might ask you a specific thing about the suspension system, like the U-bolt, or they may ask you about the leaf springs. So as a whole, I'll tell you. So you just want to say, I don't hear any leaks from the suspension system. The spring leaks are there, and there's no cracks, and it's secure. And if you can also ask them if you need to check all the suspensions. And then you just want to say the leaf springs are there, there's no damage, no cracks, and it's secured by the U-bolt. If they ask for the U-bolt, just say that there's no damage, and it's secure, and it's not loose. You just want to read out the minor and major defects that apply to you. So if they specifically ask for the U-bolt, there's no U-bolt minor defects, so you would say no minor defects for the U-bolt, and then the only major defect for the U-bolt is loose U-bolt. If they ask you about the spring leaf, here you go, broken spring leaf is a minor defect. And then these are the major defects for the spring leaf. And then you just say for the minor, you're able to drive, report it to your operator, and log in your book. And major defects, you cannot drive, report it to your operator, and log in your book. Okay, so moving on to the tires. Get my papers out here. So the tires, they specifically might ask you for the tread, the sidewall, or the tire leaking. Alright, so number 23 is tires. So they might ask you for the tread and sidewall or the tire leaking. They might ask you a little bit of questions about this one, since this one is kind of everyone should know. Okay, for instance, they might ask you what's the tread depth. So 3 millimeters is the minimum for the front tires, and 1.5 millimeters is the minimum for the back tires. So if they ask you if for the tire leak, you just want to say I don't see or I don't hear any tire leaks. I just want to give the tire a little kick and say the pressure is good. And then if they just specifically ask you for the tire leak, you would also then reflect your schedule, list the minor and major defects for tire leak or flat tire. For the sidewall of the tire, you just want to say I don't see any damage, everything's intact, and there's no wires hanging out. And if they ask you about the tread, usually they put those two together. They will say, you just want to say everything's secure, and the tread depth is 3 millimeters. So depending on which tires you check, the front and the back, you want to say that specific. So 3 millimeters is the minimum for the front tires. It's at least 3 millimeters. And then once you've done that, you just want to reflect back to your schedule and then list out the minor and major defects and what you would do upon finding them. And again, reminder, just specifically if they ask you for the tread or sidewall and not the tire leaking, you would say minor damaged tread or sidewall of tire and not the tire leaking part. And the same goes for major defects. So moving on to the section 24, wheels, hubs, and fasteners. So we'll go over the wheels first. Just want to take a look at the wheels and say, so specifically what you would want to say for the wheels is there's no damage, no cracks, and it's not broken. The rim or attaching part. Then moving on, we'll go to the hubs. So these ones don't have hubs, but some of them do. So you just say, I'm looking through the side glass for the hub oil. I'm seeing through the glass and it's above minimal level and no leaks. And then you'd want to also check it and just say secure and it's no damage. Alright, and then moving on to the fasteners, you just want to tighten each one by hand. So the fasteners, these little things. And just to clarify, the hub oil is this part, the black part right here. So for the fasteners, you just want to say they're all tight, none of them are missing, and they're all working properly. There's no damage. And depending on what they ask you, go back to your schedule, read out the specific part that they ask you, or the whole part they ask you for the whole of the wheels, hubs, and fasteners. Read them out, and then say what you do upon finding them. So moving on to the interior inspection. This is the one that they're just going to ask you to do and just talk about it. You won't list the minor and major defects. You're just going to do the entire interior inspection by yourself. So the first thing you want to do is start your vehicle, and then you want to check the seat and see if it locks into place, and you can also ask him to check his. You want to pull the seat belt and just say there's no rips, no tears, and it locks into place. You just want to look at the side mirror. It's attached, no damage, clear visibility, adjusted properly. Then the next thing is the steering wheel. So you kind of want to go in order. So check the driver's seat, seat belt, mirror, and then the steering wheel. And then the steering wheel you want to do is just check for excessive free play, lashing the steering wheel. And then you can also turn it all the way to the left and all the way to the right, and stick your head out the window, just make sure it turns. The free play trick, you just want to place your hand here, right on here, and then just turn it left, and then when you see the tire move, that's the free play. And then moving on from the steering wheel, erase that. You're going to look at the gauges. So after the steering wheel, just look at the gauges. You just want to say that there's no engine lights. There's no lights on the dash. Unless there is, just say, oh, the parking brakes lights on because my parking brakes on, or there's no seatbelt light because my seatbelt's on or off. And you want to say the speedometer's at 0 because we're not moving. The battery voltage, so that's the one right up here, I believe, this one right here. Just want to say the battery voltage is fine. Oil temp's this one, oil temp is fine. And the gas tank's at whatever it's at. And then moving on from that one, you just want to look at the windshield and just say there's clear visibility, no cracks, no damage. And then you just want to spray the windshield washer, which is right here. This little switch here, just pull it forward, spray it. And just say the windshield washer fluid level is fine. After that, you're going to check the heater and defroster. So you're going to move this one all the way down to the right for the defroster. Turn it up on heat and just check all the levels quickly and put your hand out and just check if the hot air is blowing out, and just vocalize everything that you're doing on that, and then just change it to cold and say it's working. And then you can set it to whatever one you want. Usually I just keep on the defroster. After you're done the in-cab check, you're going to go on to the interior inspection. So this is where they'll specifically ask for 2 things. They'll pick up 2 things for the interior inspection, 2 of the same things you just did, but you'll also say the minor and major defects and what you do upon finding them. So I kind of explained all the interior inspections already, so I'll just note which ones they are for you. So number 6 is an interior, number 7 is an interior, number 8 is an interior, number 16 is an interior, so this is the defroster. Oh, and steering ones. Okay, and that's your inspection test items. And then you'll go on to do the road test. To make sure you obey the rules of the road, just check your mirrors before you approach an intersection, and check left, right, left upon approaching an intersection, just making sure the traffic's safe for you. Even if it's a green light, just do the check. Did like that. And also just another tip for you, if you're merging, they're going to take you on the highway if you're merging onto the highway or that ramp on, and the orange, it's like a little orange speed sign and it says 40 kilometers an hour. Just make sure you obey that and go 40. You should probably know that from your G test. Make sure you stay in the right lane. If there's left and right lane, make sure you stay in the right lane. And I would 100% recommend get the MTO bus book. It explains everything, how to reverse park, what to do on a railway crossing, and everything else they need to do. Just as a reminder, just read it and get an idea what's expected. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good day. Good luck with your Class F. Again, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. I'd love to help. I don't want anyone failing like me the first time. I don't know if I mentioned this, but if I didn't, the reason I failed the first time is the driving was fine. Interior inspection, again, what killed me was the Schedule 2. So I thought specifically if they ask for wheels, you'd go into this one and do the whole thing. During my second test, the guy asked me why I failed, and I explained it to him. And he said that he wouldn't have failed me for this, but just as a precaution, if they specifically ask you for one thing and the part 24, like the wheels, don't do hubs and fasteners, because some people will fail you for that. I know it's kind of stupid. Specifically, if they ask you for the wheels, don't do the hubs and fasteners. And for any other part of the schedule that kind of branches off into subsections, just do that one part that they ask you for. Alright, so good luck. Hopefully you kill it, and see you guys later.